Let's do a fall sit spot with Ms.Boley. Why are we doing this? Well, we're hoping to develop our artist eyes, which means we're learning how to see and notice details. And secondly, we're trying to practice drawing what we see. So when we go outside, it's really complicated. There's a lot of stuff out there. And so the only way to get really good at drawing what we see from real life is just to practice. So we will need a visual journal or piece of paper. If you don't have a visual journal, maybe bring something like a book or a clipboard to be able to write on top of it, to hold your paper, and then a pencil and eraser, and you want to make sure you're dressed for the weather. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, so how do I choose my sit spot? You might have already done a sit spot this year, but if not, you're going to want to pick a really good spot for your sit spot. There are two important rules that you must follow. So first of all, safety first. Your grown-up must know where you are and must approve of your sit spot. Make sure you're not going there all by yourself and you have some supervision. Secondly, you want to make sure that your sit spot is outside. If you aren't able to go outside, then you can choose a spot near a window or a balcony with a clear view of outside. Okay, so even though there are only two really important rules, it helps to think about these other things as well when you're choosing your special sit spot. So your sit spot should be easy to get to because we're going to return to this spot over and over in many different seasons and many different types of weather. Secondly, we want to make sure it's safe in all kinds of weather. If we come back and it's snowy, will this place still be safe? Make sure that you can answer yes to that question. Is it comfortable? So are you able to sit there comfortably for different lengths of time? Maybe you might want to bring something that you can sit on. And then you want it to be away from other people. So other people might be around, you might be in like a park or a playground, but it is nice to be at least a few meters away from someone else if they're doing a sit spot or if they're playing on the park or whatever. So that is some important things to consider. Okay, once you get to your sit spot, what do? That's what this video is all about. So I'm going to show you what I did in my sit spot this time around. So you're going to use your 4 senses. I said 4 senses because we're not going to taste anything today. We're going to take note of what we see, hear, feel, smell, and even what we're thinking. We're gonna think about what do we notice, what do we think, and what do we wonder. And then because we've brought our visual journal with us, we're gonna draw or write whatever comes to our mind in our visual journal. And I'm gonna show you what I like to do when I'm drawing and writing in my sit spot. We're gonna practice mindfulness by zooming in and out. So we might listen and look at things that are close up to us, and then we'll listen and look at things that are far away from us. So let's see how that would work. Let's go join me in my sit spot.
Hi, here I am in my sit spot. It's just in front of my house. So I've brought my visual journal and I've got a pencil and eraser. And you can tell I'm also dressed for the weather. I've got gloves because your hands can get cold, a hat, and even some snow pants. There you go. You can see my snow pants. All right, so I'm gonna go have a seat. I need snow pants to be able to sit comfortably on the ground. I'm just gonna relax here before I start drawing, start using my 5 senses to absorb the information.
I like to divide up my paper into 3 different sections. So I draw lines to separate out my 3 sections into what I see, what I think, and what I wonder.
So let's do that on our visual journal. So I will just do a rough few lines just to divide my paper up into 3 spots. And then I'm going to write down think, wonder, and see. And then I'm just going to look around and decide what it is that I want to draw. So when I'm looking around, I noticed that there was this tree which had a whole bunch of leaves on it still. So it's kind of like it's a fall winter day. There's snow on the ground, but there's still also leaves all over the ground as well. And so I'm trying to draw that tree. So then I started to zoom in and I started to notice that there were leaves on the ground right beside me. And so I thought, oh, well, what if I draw one of these leaves that's really close up to me? And when I picked it up, I touched it and I noticed that it was all dried out and it was all crispy. So I was thinking, well, I wonder if when they fall off the trees, or I think when they fall off the trees, they dry out a little bit. And so that was going to go in my think section. And then I started to do some more detail over here on this tree because I zoomed out. And then I zoomed out again and I noticed there's a tree far away from me, across from me, and it had this really bumpy bark. So there it is on the picture there. So I started to draw that and I wondered, why is the bark so bumpy? So I was able to write some words down. If you're not able to write words down, that's okay. You can always record what you see, think, and wonder using pictures. Or both. It's definitely up to you.